Greetings, Toastmasters. Good. All right. One of the most important laws in behavior psychology is you get more of that which you reinforce. I'm here today to persuade you to use reinforcement to get more out of what you want in life and less of what you don't want. So, what are you reinforcing? Is it an exercise program or laziness? Is it a healthy eating habit or a bad one? Is it a fulfilling relationship or an unsatisfying one? Is it success or failure? Reinforcement is so important in your life because it facilitates the creation, the preservation, and destruction of habits, both good and bad. Reinforcement's defined in psychology as any stimulus which changes the probability of a response. As the response is repeated, a habit is created. The greater the level of reinforcement, the greater the change in the response, and thus habits are created or destroyed. There are 4 types of reinforcement defined by psychology: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. To simplify things, I'll use examples from your childhood to define each type of reinforcement. So the first type is positive reinforcement, and this involves using a positive stimulus to increase the probability of response. When I say response, I mean a behavior. Remember when you were a child and you got good grades on your report card? Your parents would praise you with a good job, or they would reward you with money or some other treat. Maybe they'd take you to Disneyland. The reinforcer of good study habits here is the praise or reward for good grades. The second type of reinforcement is negative reinforcement. And this involves the removal of a negative stimulus in order to increase a response. Remember when your mother wanted you to do the dishes or take out the garbage, and she would nag you constantly to do it? What happened when you completed the chore? The nagging stopped. The reinforcer here is the removal of the painful nagging once the chore is completed. The third type of reinforcement is punishment. And this involves adding something unpleasant in order to decrease the probability of a response. Remember when you did something wrong when you were a child? Your parents would either spank and or punish you for the act. So next time you thought about doing the act, you would think twice and maybe even not do it. The fourth and final type of reinforcement is extinction. And this involves removing the stimulus in order to decrease the probability of a response. You may recall a couple times when you were a kid and it was bedtime and you were kicking and screaming because you didn't want to go to bed. Sooner or later, your parents caught on and decided to remove caffeine and sugar from your diet a certain time during the day so that you'd be more cooperative when bedtime rolled around due to the fact that you're a little bit more sleepy. So your parents have constantly used reinforcement as a way to get you to develop the habits that are essential to becoming an adult. Now that you've become an adult, your parents' reinforcement has ceased, and so you have less outside reinforcement in your life. There is still some reinforcement in your life, in work and in your relationships. The reinforcer of going to work every day is, of course, the paycheck, the money. In our relationships, you may have a significant other that uses reinforcement to get desired responses out of you still. I won't go any further with that. So, your parents were allowed to use reinforcement because at the time they knew what was best for you. Now you know what's best for you. So you have to decide. You have to reinforce yourself. So far, I've only given examples of outside reinforcement, but the most effective and the most neglected form of reinforcement is self-reinforcement. Think about it. Why can't you use positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, and extinction to create good habits and bad habits. So much of what we do in life is affected by reinforcement. Reinforcement shapes who we are. I encourage you to use self-reinforcement to mold yourself into who you want to be. Thank you.